Okay, so today we're going to continue working on this project, and we are going to paint the awning, this part. So what I did is I divided the awning at the bottom here, 1/2 inch in between, just 1/2 inch. And I drew the scalloped edge. And then here I have alizarin crimson and cadmium red light. I have a bright or flat and a round, and they're not too big, just enough for me to be able to control the paint over here. So we're going to start by mixing both of them. So we need a dark green, red first, and then I will highlight this area of the red only. I don't want to highlight the whole thing. So I'm going to put the first. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Let's see. Change the lighting in here. You won't see any reflection. Yeah, that's better, I think, for now. So I mixed a little bit of cadmium red light in it, in the alizarin crimson. And I'm just going to spread this alizarin crimson up here. Now we can do a lot of things here. We can put stripes. We can put whatever we want. But or we can just leave it just the way it is. But for now, we're going to just do scalloped edge, and then we will see if we want to add some stripes in here. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this will look better if we have a bit of raw umber in here. So let's add a little bit of raw umber. This is looking very nice, but a bit too light, especially at the edge here. Let me see. Yeah. All right, let's add raw umber. Yeah. So it gives us more like a maroon color. So alizarin crimson, a little bit of cadmium red light in it, and raw umber for the first layer, especially at the edge here. All of these edges will look better if they're darker. So when we put the highlight in the middle, in the center, it will look good. We can also put a nice edge to the scallops in cadmium red light if we want. And then we'll add leaves around it. I'll let it dry a bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to take cadmium red light, and then I will pause a bit so you can catch up with. And I'm just going to try to do a bit of a detail in here in red. All right. I'm going to pause for a minute. Okay. Now let's highlight. So we're going to highlight this area kind of in here. Don't highlight at the edge right there, the sides. Let's start with here. It's I mixed raw umber and cadmium red light. I like this paint because it's not heavy, and it's great when you're adding it to the heavy body that I'm using. Sometimes
you're talking about the basics.
Basics, yeah. Liquitex basics. It's not heavy, so it's good when you add it to, kind of like now the red, just to tone down the red, so it doesn't take over really, but it just tones down the color. Yeah, that's good. We're going to do it slowly. Alizarin crimson is transparent, so I'm not using alizarin crimson right now, but even the base. So sometimes you get this streaky brushstroke. Now I just want to make sure that I'm keeping an eye where the color or the light color needs to stop. In the reference, there's a hint of a light sunlight coming from the left on an angle. And then streaks of sunny parts in there. You can see the red is not 100% opaque. That's okay. We're just we'll do another layer if we want, but I think we should be okay. Now I'm going to take more of the raw umber, mix it with my red, and then kind of soften all this up here and darken it a bit. Okay. We're going to put anyway, we're going to put some greenery up there. Tree leaves, a hint. I will highlight a little bit more this area here, and then I'll add greenery in there, overlapping. And I will work on the scalloped edge. Okay, so let's highlight a little bit more. I'm adding the same thing, cadmium red light, with a touch of raw umber. I'm going to start from here, from the center where the light is. I'm just going to put a kind of dabbles of sun here and there. We really don't have to, because we are going to put some greenery in there, but yeah, makes it look interesting when the greenery comes on top. All right, so now what I'm going to do is take my round brush and just try to fix a bit some of these scalloped edge.
Are you doing them with the same color?
Yeah, same color. Just adjusting the shape a little bit. All right, I have a feeling this, and this is making the whole thing look messy. So I'm going to go back, soften all this. My apologies if you have done this, but this part, but it's not looking good, especially when the paint is drying. It's looking kind of messy and patchy.
So burnt umber you're using for that?
Burnt umber, alizarin crimson. Sometimes I can't tell until I put the color. When I put the color on, then I can gauge if this needs to be changed, or if it doesn't, if it looks good, looks messy, it doesn't fit the whole picture. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Okay. So I'm starting to add some greens in here. For the greens, there's an option of using sap green and putting cadmium red light in it, just a bit of cadmium red light in the sap green, and highlighting the sap green with cadmium yellow light. Or this is Prussian blue. I'm adding yellow to Prussian blue right there. Cadmium yellow light to Prussian blue. A little bit of red. That will make it more earthy. Tone it down. And I want to tone it down a little bit more. Make it darker. So I'm going to use raw umber for the areas where the darker leaves are. So I'm going to start here. Oh, yeah, that's good. Let's take that. More of this. And if you're wondering why I'm using Prussian blue and not sap green, just because we do have Prussian blue in here, in the actual wood. We use Prussian blue, so it's nice to kind of keep it in the same colors. But it's not necessary. I'm starting with darks.
That's Prussian and yellow to start with?
Yes, Prussian and yellow and a bit of cadmium red light.
And cadmium red.
Mm.
Thank you.
And if you're doing the corners where we have a dark color, add raw umber where the dark colors are in the corners.
That's a nice green. I like it.
Mm-hmm. It is a nice green. It reminds me a bit of chromium oxide green. It's really nice. Okay, so I changed the position of the leaves. I didn't like them before. It was a bit too heavy over here. And I just made a couple, repainted this area here with less leaves in there. Just kind of a couple here and there. Honestly, we don't need to put too much in here because we are going to have a lot of flowers down at the bottom. So we don't need too much. So I'm using a round brush, same combination of Prussian blue, cadmium yellow light, and a tiny bit of red. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. And maybe with this, I'm going to add a couple of twigs. Same here. Not many, just a couple. Same brush. That's enough. That's good. Now, if you like to add in the same greens, or maybe a little bit more bluish, so I would take a bit more of the Prussian blue into the yellow. It makes it like a blue-green. And add a little bit of a detail here in red, in green over the red. That's an option too, but we can keep it just like that too. That's nice. It's fine. Since I have leftover red and raw umber, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this red and raw umber and cadmium red light and raw umber and mix them and paint a couple of those. Paint a couple of the pots. At least the ones that have a terracotta color. I'm going to make this one here to terracotta color right here. I'll send you a picture of this, of course. Another one, let's do this one here. Let's put this one here too, in terracotta. Because it's a big one right here. So actually terracotta would be a good color for this. And one more, this big one here. You can see that I changed from the reference. In the reference, it's like a barrel, wooden. I changed it to, I'm going to change it to terracotta. You can put that if you like, barrel one. And we can also, if we want next week, we can do that. But I'm trying to simplify as much as I can the details, because there's a lot of flowers. We're going to add a lot of flowers eventually. So trying to simplify this.
I think it needs a watering can.
I know, but I am trying to simplify as much as I can, so we don't need to put too much detail on the pots. Yeah, but the water, is that you're referring to the watering can that's in there? There's one there, I think. It's cute. Push it down a bit, even if it overlaps with the flowers that we're going to put. That's okay. We'll put the flowers over, or the plants over, because it's easier if you push it down a bit. Push the color down a bit with the terracotta. Light is coming from the left-hand side. We don't need to do this here. We don't need to highlight it. I just want to highlight more of the center than the whole thing. Maybe one more. Maybe that little one here. I think that's good. Yeah. Darken tiny bit with raw umber, top part, just a tiny bit, not much. There. Because this is, the flowers are going to cast a shadow over this part. And if you want to highlight it more, we will do that next week when we start adding the rest of the colors and the flowers and everything. We will put a bit more highlights if we find that this terracotta color is not light enough. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow to this combination of terracotta, just to highlight it a bit. All right, let's do this here. just left-hand side mostly. It's like a burnt sienna color. Usually I use burnt sienna. That's perfect. So I'm adding a cadmium yellow light, a bit of cadmium yellow light to highlight. Put that, highlight the terracotta. I'm adding the cadmium yellow light with the terracotta color. Kind of an orangey color, that's what I'm looking for. This orangey or terracotta colored, warm color goes very well with the green. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
I have to go lay out. My daughter's coming over.
Sure. Okay, no problem. See you next week, Paula.
Thank you so much.
You're
I should have
welcome.
no problem next week, I hope.
I hope not. Okay, see
Bye,
ya.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Terracotta.
Would this be the daughter that she had with the new baby? I guess it's not that new anymore.
What, the baby?
That was
She said her daughter's coming over and
Yeah.
along with the little baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was her son, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe I can't remember. Okay. I guess if there was a baby coming or a grandchild, she would have mentioned it.
That's true.
Yeah, I have to go too. Goodbye,
Okay.
everybody.
Goodbye. See you
Bye,
next
Susan.
week. Bye, Susan.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we're done for this week. We added some pots, terracotta pots, and the green and the red on top for the awning. And next week we'll continue working on flowers and the pots.